Good morning. Good to see you. Thought it might take 2 minutes to walk to the fridge. Grab myself a nice old ice cold, unhealthy beverage. How's everybody doing? Morning, morning. Good morning, morning. Joe Swick, Hoos, first couple people. Shanbot, good to see you. Jeff. Morning, Jeff. I always like seeing Jeff. Whenever I don't see Jeff, a little piece of me dies inside. How's about that for dramatic? Good to see you guys. Blake, good to see you. From down under. Laramie, morning. Ben, morning. Roger Francais. Good to see you. Tad, good to see you. Good turnout. Solid. Oh, man. 384. Oh, 384. Is that was the last one, right, Joe? Aaron, morning. Good to see you. Thanks for chiming in. Thank you for supporting, by the way. So if you see Aaron's little cool icon, he is donating directly on the YouTubes. Harrigan, good to see you. Be right back. I have a YouTube video to comment on. Good morning. Is that Harrigan, is that a somebody's wrong on the internet moment? Hold on, honey. Somebody's wrong on the internet. I understand. You have to do what you got to do. Your civic duty as an internet user. Blake, I don't know if you see this. They changed the damn label for Vanilla Coke again. Like, I should have like a bottle of every iteration, but I don't. At least in the America. It was light brown all over. Now it's got a swath of red. You know, I got to say, the last one, you could get confused with the diet caffeine-free version, right? They looked almost exactly the same. I think they're having a little bit of an identity crisis with the Vanilla Coke. Just my humble opinion.
Oh my god, I turned on this guy. I thought he was talking about RPGs. All he talked about for like the first 5 minutes was Vanilla Coke. God, give me a break. Unsubscribe.
You know, I love the haters. Haters gonna hate. Not you guys. Not you guys. All right. Boom. We're at a minute over. Let's get to the question. What game, what RPG do you hope to get to the table again, to play again? So you've played it, you liked it, maybe you don't like it, still want to play it. What game could have been, hey, we stopped playing last month, moved on to something else, but I want to go back to it. Maybe it was something you played like 30 years ago. And you're like, I really want to get back to it. I want to get it back to the table. I want to play that game again. Run or play. It doesn't matter. If you're running, you're playing. You're a player. Roger French, he's like Toon. No question. Boom, bam. As a matter of fact, it's probably in his brain, like, right? Like, he was on it quickly. Gabe Dibbing, Star Trek Adventures. The new second edition. Star Trek Editions. Star Trek Editions. Star Trek Adventures. Play or run, or both. You could specify, I'd like to play this, run that. Sometimes they're not the same, right? Like, I definitely want to play that, but I actually want to run that. I don't want to run it. I want to play that. That's fine, too. Either way, good. I just want to give verification. verification. I want to get clarification. Jeez. I was listening to early episodes of Gaming BS. I don't know how any of you guys listen to that. Like the first 50, maybe you guys didn't. That's okay. Like I totally understand. I would have been like, who is this guy? It doesn't even make any sense. Laramie says, Hackmaster 4. I have to say, Laramie, with your Castles and Crusades bout, it's been on for a while. I'm surprised. Laramie used to be like Hackmaster 4. Now it's kind of taking a back seat for a while. Jeff says, top secret. Play or GM. The original, hey, Jeff? Oof. Did that game age well? Oof. I don't know. Oof. Gabe says, also WEG Star Wars for Sean. Dude, yes. I gotta run or play that. WEG. Never played. I played, I think, once at OshCon. You know, so if you guys have ever heard of Oshkosh Bagosh, Oshkosh, Wisconsin actually exists. I don't know if they still have a convention there on campus, but I think I played, I don't even know if it was a full scenario, honestly. Blake says, Dragonbane. Played it an hour ago. Love it. Wow. Okay. Tim says Troika. There we go. See, now we get some variety in this up in this mother. Aaron says Twilight 2000. Ooh, so much goodness. Joe Swick says DCC to play. I'd like to get anything to my table to run. You know, the nice thing about that, Joe, is if you're going to run it, I suppose you got to have the players. Harrigan's always got multiple answers. There's so much to devour. Delta Green, Breakers, because he wants to play his favorite character, I'm sure, in Breakers. Forbidden Lands, touche. And Star Trek Adventures version 2 and Dune. Harrigan, have you played Dune since GameholeCon? Morning, Ryan. Good to see you. Who says play Blade Runner, run Harnmaster with invested players? Because running it with uninvested players would be no bueno for Hoos. Laramie says it's because CNC is quicker and I'm online only currently. I see. Fair. Jeff says have to house tile and clean up the mechanics. Is it house rule? I'm guessing he meant house rule, right? Yeah, he said house rule. Have to house rule and clean up the mechanics for original Top Secret. Yeah. Ryan says, I love WEG Star Wars. Played it for years. Shambot says, I'm up to number 20 right now for Gaming and BS. I would love to play COC and run more WEG Star Wars. Shambot, is this your first run through of Gaming and BS? Ooh, 20, I think it's got to iron out a little bit. Like the first episode, I think I'm only up to 4 or something after starting. It's like, why did I play the intro at full length? Why did I play the outro at full length? Why could I not use correct vocabulary when speaking? It was terrible. Terrible. So, case in point, if you're starting a podcast and the first few are bad, it's okay. You can only get better. And the first few always stink. So if the first few are really good, hey, you already had a curve. Jeff says, love CNC play. Yeah, Laramie, you know Jeff's got the bug. Laramie says, yeah, Jeff, tile that house. You know, I always look at typos. You could probably decipher the typo especially if you're on a mobile device and you fat finger something. You could usually make out what the original word should have been just based on where the characters fall in with each other. It's kind of like a weird game of Wordle. Ryan says I've been running DCC, playing 5e D&D, and want to get MCC and slash Numenera mashup to the table. So there's a lot of DCC. There's a lot of CC in there. So DCC, Dungeon Crawl Classics, and then MCC is Mutant Crawl Classics by Goodman Games. So Mutant Crawl Classics has got a Gamma World vibe to it, and then obviously Numenera from. I can't assume everybody that will watch this will know all the short lingo, if you will. Tyler, good morning. Hollow Earth Expedition. Wow, there's one. Nice. Jeff, Delta Green. Jeff, all you got to do, Jeff, is just tell me when you want to run. When you want to play Delta Green, Jeff. That's all you got to do. That's all. That is, like, to play Delta Green, all you got to do is let me know when, man. That's all. That's simple. Jeff and me be duet gaming. Jeff is the player, me is the game master. I got to say mine is Delta Green for sure. Play or run. And then it's like peanut butter and jelly, Jeff. There you go. I want to run it. You want to play it? Hey. Tomato. Nope, I have not played Dune since Gamehole. So that Game Master should know, right? Like, too bad they don't realize, like, because they could have totally turned you off from that game, right? Like, oh, played it at Gamehole Con? Oh, no thanks. Wayne, good morning. The question du jour is, what RPG would you like to get back to the table? Playing or running or both? Could have been something you played last month. Could have been something you played 20 years ago. Haven't played it in a while. Want to get it back. I want to play it again. Play it again, Sam. You see you, Fraser. Actually, it would be fun to go back and play in a game of WEG Star Wars. It's 3 people. I mentioned that. As myself and Gabe Dibbing. Tad says, played a couple of sessions of Dune with partial janky rules released before it launched and had fun. Time to play it with complete rules. Fraser says, usually I hanker for a genre rather than systems. Yeah, I could see that. You would play Fatal Star Wars, Fraser. You know what I wake up for every day? I want to play Fatal Rules Star Wars universe. Chambot says it is his first run listening to Gaming and BS. I've been trying to catch up some before the end of the year. Good luck. Wouldn't mind running some True 20. Oh, True 20. I have not. That is a game I have not heard from for some time. She has it done for maybe a decade. Yeah, that thing dropped off the face of the planet, man. Somewhere there is a listserv for True 20 fans. Oh, what is Laramie doing? He's trying to recruit Jeff for an online CNC game. Oh no. Look at that. Ben says, I'd love to play some Hollow Earth 2. ASAP, Sean, ASAP. Dude, here's a couple things. When I look at my watch and I look at my calendar, there's no ASAP on any of it, anywhere. It's so strange. I don't know what that means. That's something I've learned from working with clients. Well, when would you like this role filled? ASAP. Oh, okay. So if I found somebody tomorrow, you would interview them today and then have them start tomorrow morning. Well, no, that's, we got to do other things, Oh, okay. So There's a challenge. Delta Green West Marches. Actually, somebody has mentioned that to me. Has brought that up. I don't remember who it was. Somebody in the chat, I think. I don't remember if it was Harrigan. I don't think so. But somebody has mentioned, like, you could do Delta Green, episodic. Brett. It might have been Brett, actually. He and I were texting. I think it was Brett. He and I were texting one day, and he's like, West Marches came up. I said I had a hankering for doing it. And then he said something about Delta Green. He's like, you could do West Marches Delta Green. I'm like, the pace of Delta Green can be all over the place. That would be tough. We have our group now for Star Wars. Look at Gabe. He's already on it. That guy's gaming a lot. Analytic Dice, VSD. Hold on a second. Right now, Fraser's going to go and hold up something to his screen. Maybe he's checking to see if he's got WEG Star Wars. Or he's probably mentioning like No Fatal and Star Wars. That's what he's saying. I'm going too far. Shambot says, I'm sensing some off-books games of WEG Star Wars at GameholeCon. Maybe. I don't know, maybe we could convince Gabe to do that. William, good morning. Yeah, I would say for me, Delta Green for sure. Forbidden Lands is not like that would be something I would like to get back to as well, especially with the Dwayne and Harrigan and Kevin and Phil. Yeah, that would be fun. Maybe just maybe we would get to the Bitter Reach. Who knows? There is a chat lag, and yes, there are limits to my system willingness. Yeah, I get it. Totally understandable. You guys got to stick around if you're interested in the West Marches. I'm going to do it at the end of the show. I'm going to try not to do 2 hours. I think going forward, I'm going to try to limit it to we'll baby steps. We'll get to like an hour and a half. And then maybe we can shrink it some more. I want to be, 2 hours is asking a lot. And I know a lot of you folks got a lot of stuff going on. And, sometimes the last hour might be, dude, this is going on way too long. So, again, I don't want this to be the West Marches show. The West Marches show. But I got to give updates. I've got like 4 avenues to post updates. I could do it here. I could do it on Discord. I could do it in Notion. I could do it on email now. People are probably like, dude, I'm over here and there, here and there. You got to like pick a lane, dude. I get it. It'll come together. Don't, hang in there. That's right, baby. Come for the game. Stay for the song and dance. Hobbs. Yeah, it's confusing. And if Hobbs is confused, that's the bar. Hobbs is the bar. Hobbs, if he's easily confused, many of you are probably not as much. But if I can clarify it for Hobbs, then it's going to be a no-brainer for everybody. So. Love you, Hobbsy. You should you should create a separate West Marches show. Oh, good idea. That's not a bad idea, Tim. That's not a bad idea. I appreciate it. Wayne says nostalgia vote. Mage the Ascension. Otherwise, WEG Star Wars is sounding pretty good. Look at that. Another vote for WEG Star Wars. You find your group in the strangest ways. In the strangest chat channels on the internet. For Gamehole, I'll make a themed Star Wars adventure. Rebel agents stealing tech at a trade show with companies vying for Imperial contracts. I'd play that. In the infamous words of Roger French, I'd play that. That's a low bar. Hobbs and I should hang out. I love bars. So there you go. See? Matt, good to see you. Free League's Walking Dead RPG would be prime for some Wes Marches play. True. That's true. Good to see you, Matt. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. That is true. I have not run Walking Dead yet. Hoos is I think he's kind of our Walking Dead resident expert. He's done a few. He's played it. I mean, he ran like 2 of them at BSRCon in January. Jeff says, you can dance at our game tomorrow if you want, Sean. That's all. I will, man. I will. Jeff will have front row seats at live Sean antics. Tad says there are at least 2 of us out here who want more Bitter Reach actual play. Yeah, where is Caverna? I think Caverna's mad at me. You stopped Forbidden Lands. Click. That is a phone hang up, by the way. Like, some may not recognize what I'm trying to do here. Blake said played The Walking Dead the other day. Combat is rough. Got to stay quiet a lot to avoid mobbing by walkers. Yeah, for sure. There you go, Roger. You know the deal. Did I miss an inside joke with Gabe? I probably did, didn't I? Actual Bitter Reach, actual play. That's chapter 2. That's what it'll be called. Chapter 2. Actual Bitter Reach, actual play. Been watching for a while. Been listening since Gaming and BS. Keep them. Got it, Matt. I've got a few Matts, so I probably know of you, Matt. Keep them coming, he says. Got to switch from hang up to mic drop. Right, yes. Morning, Jim. Good to see you. Hobbs says, I'm sure I had something in mind with that setup. Probably. All right. I think we're at almost maximum, velocity here as far as folks. So, as some people have reminded, do want to get, smash that like button, hit the dislike button, subscribe if you feel so inclined. If you haven't subscribed, another thing, Sean, I hit like button every week. If you want to tell people about this too, hey, if you're on the social medias or something, just saying. West March style works. This pop-up. West March style works pretty good in a post-apocalyptic style game like Walking Dead or Mad Max style game. Okay, you know what? I'm going to can what I've been working on, and we're going to do Walking Dead. So we'll shoot for December. We got a question. Worst referral ever. Oh, you didn't know the question of the day, Hobbs? My apologies. I would have thought you would have hit rewind or scrolled up to the top of the chat. As Harrigan says, what game that that you've run or played do you want to get back to the table? And they could be 2 different games. Thanks, Harrigan. Almost forgot to like. So ashamed. It's all right, Ryan. It's all good. Did you get your Mothership? I'd play the new version of that, too. I did not get Mothership yet. I don't think I've been notified it's shipped, which is great because people have them. So somewhere they probably got wind of me poo-pooing the Kickstarter. And all right. He's not in a hurry to get it, so we'll ship his last. So I have to say, I'm so utterly underwhelmed and not even excited in the least of getting that game. I am so I am full on Brett disappointed Kickstarter mode. I know some of you are like, dude, Mothership's here. Whoa! And that's great. Good for you, man. Me, fizzle. Deflated. Maybe I should keep it in the box that it ships and then see if I could resell it. Completely unopened. Like, not even the package, like the packaging that it shipped in, completely unopened. Be kind, be kind, rewind. I thought someone last week was saying they ran Gamma World for years as a hex crawl. Ooh, interesting. Jim says, I live in the now. Fair. I get it. Hob says, we deal in lead after Harrigan runs some, was that ITO? Into the odd? Huh? Good guess. Is that what that is? Not shipping notice here either, Sean. You got in on that, Laramie? Yeah, I don't know. Dude, it is April 20th. I don't even think I'll get it this month. I think I'll probably get it in May at this rate. Seriously. Like, wow. Ruination Pilgrimage. See, now you guys don't want me to change my damn West Marches game. I'd play Mothership again if it came up, but I didn't back the Kickstarter. Well, that's okay. How long has it been for Mothership? Was it like 3 years? I don't know. What is this Mothership you guys speak of? Somewhere in the deep recesses of my mind, it rings a slight bell. The only Kickstarter I've backed recently that hasn't shipped physical items yet is Dolmenwood. Oh, you backed Dolmenwood. Yeah. I'll tell you what, though. They're putting stuff out. Like, I mean, even the player and the GM stuff was out relatively speaking, pretty quick. Ryan says, hello, L. It might not even be in there. Schrodinger's Mothership. Indeed. Shambot really not trying to stir the pot. That's okay. I'll stir it. I mean, he'll change it to 2 when he gets the box. Then he'll sell it a year later. Dude, a year? Wow, you are optimistic. I've contemplated getting that thing and like literally just Mothership for sale if you didn't get it on Kickstarter, because God knows when it'll hit the retail channels. At least Sean McCoy had been upfront and updating. Yeah, well, I mean, is upfront like saying, hey, we're going to ship it for 6 months? Upfront? I don't know. I mean, so if I've got a crowdsourced project, as long as I put out an update, true or not, or whether it actually comes to fruition, like, hey, we're going to ship this, we're going to start shipping next week, and it doesn't, that's a good just do that all the time. That's good. I don't know why. Positive force, Sean. Sometimes this is the justification of my cynicism. And I had this at a game store when I was trying to help them, like, I don't know, they're like, I guess, pseudo marketing. We don't want those to fail. We don't want like somebody to, be bankrupt or not make money or not succeed. Some of us are like, oh, they suck. Who care? Like Michael Jordan sucks. He's in, like that statement doesn't even make sense to me. But like there are people that are like just that person, right? And I think that's kind of that's where my brain is at. Like I loved Mothership. I love Mothership. I loved it. Past tense. I don't know. I ran it. I enjoyed it. I had a good group. There's a video on this channel about it. Live play, or probably was on Gaming BS. Got excited about the Kickstarter. Looking forward to the edition. Yeah, man. Cool. I mean, if it would have said expected delivery date 3 years, would I have anything to stand on? Hey man, it said right in the crowdfunding campaign 3 years. What are you complaining about? They said it was going to take a long time. But the shipping and the VAR and the distribution and the problems with the printer and the problem with logistics and all the packaging didn't work and insert all the stuff. They got another one. Evil Hat's got another one out there. Thing's gonna frickin', dude, expected delivery date this time. Get it 1 month early, weeks early, right on time. Like, boom, pam. Just saying. Just saying. There's been tons of PDFs and updates from Dalmanwood so far. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be a good box. Harrigan, I give Harrigan all the credit. He's tried to keep me in check and say, hey man, it's gonna be a great box. It's gonna be a great game. He's excited. It's just so deflated. So deflated. That is the best word. Just deflated. I'll buy it right now, sight unseen. It's yours, man. It's yours. There you go. It's yours. How am I going to miss it? One of my players shared photos of his mothership box to our group chat. My box is in Kansas, but on the way. Sweet. Sean's confusing the issue with facts again. Sorry to disappoint, Blake. Except WotC. We all want them to fail. I mean, many of us have pretty strong, not singling Tim out, but since he brought it up, I am very interested in because like many of us don't play a lot of WotC stuff unless you're like a Magic player, right? Or, they got other products, but what the hate against some of the vitriol against WotC is just, I mean, I've brought it up on the stream, some of their shortcomings and things that they've done wrong. As a matter of fact, I have to say there was a video online. I won't say who it was because I don't want to send traffic to their video because most of the times it's just terrible. It's just terrible, conflict-driven crap. And for whatever reason, in my brain, decided to click on the video. And it wasn't even clickbait. It was like Cynthia Williams. So we haven't started like the news thing, but Cynthia Williams, we could probably start. Why don't we do that? Cynthia Williams, for those of that are not in the know, is the president of Wizards of the Coast as of this recording, Saturday, April 20th. And they, in an SEC filing, that's the source, that literally the blurb on it is April 15th, 2024, Cynthia Williams, president of Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro Gaming, informed the company of her resignation from the company effective April 26th, 2024. The company is conducting a process to identify her successor. So there's probably not one internally. Looking at both internal and external candidates. I mean, internal, external. So I clicked on this person's video, and one of the things like he said was, some things fell short, but there were some things on her watch that did well. So you kind of have to take the good and the bad. We can only speculate on the true reasons Cynthia Williams is leaving without any, they haven't put out a release. It's, a press release. It's literally this, like SEC filing. So when people say, well, she was fired, she was terminated, she left, and it was amicable, and there's people reading about. Actually, they did put out a statement. I apologize. WotC did put out a statement and said something to the effect of, "We wish her all the best of luck," or whatever. And people have been analyzing the language of that letter, and this video did that. Because if it was worded this way, then it wouldn't be, whatever. So there's definitely the YouTube armchair folks that are trying to interpret kind of what went on. But the fact is, after the 26th, she's done. She's gone. Resigned, quit, asked to leave. Good, on a good basis, positive note, negative note, whatever. You can look at the stock price since she took over, the Baldur's Gate, Monopoly Go, like successes that she had under her term as president of Wizards of the Coast. And then, of course, there was the OGL debacle and things of that nature. Some of the things that are much, much obvious to us. But, man, why do we hate WotC? Well, Pinkertons, Sean. We hate them because they sent Pinkertons to a guy's house. Okay, that's okay. That's probably a good reason, I guess. I don't know. It's because everybody likes to play D&D 5e, and they never play anything else. So therefore, it squashes the rest of the hobby. Now people see this and they don't know me. They're gonna be like, WotC sympathizer, smash, You know what WotC should do? Another edition of D&D. Now we can talk briefly about Deathmatch Island and Evil Hat. See? Change gears. You bet. Woohoo. Mothership Hobbs got I kind of want WotC to fail, not going to lie. But why, Jeff? Why? I mean, I know why, but I'm just trying to get it out there to kind of understand the dynamic. Like, it doesn't affect what I play. Does it impact the people I get to recruit to my table? I don't know. Maybe. But if I'm not running 5e and people want to play 5e, they're not going to want to play at my table. If I submit a game at a convention and I'm not running a 5th edition game, I'm probably not going to have somebody at the table and go, wait a minute, I thought this was 5th edition, Yeah, look at Laramie. I'm so indifferent about WotC. Don't play it, don't care. Right. Jim, don't care what WotC does. Which is good. I mean, good, I guess, right? Like, it doesn't affect their lives is what they're probably saying. So does it? It would be cool if they got it together. Sure. But they're the king of the hill. Everybody wants to knock them off. They say in business, I don't know if it's necessarily, I don't know if this is something I read, they say, whatever. Sean read it somewhere, somebody mentioned it. But being number 2 is in a good position because number 1 gets all the flack. If there's flack to be given, the spotlight is on them all the time. They're going to get criticized the most. Like number 2, you could be just as good or worse. But if you're number 2, I don't think you have as much damage control to manage. And it's a good spot because you always got you're the underdog. You want to reach up to the number 1 spot until you're number 1. And the dynamic changes again. Happy to bring people to the hobby, and then we get those people to play other games. Happy they bring people to the hobby. Sorry, Chambot, don't worry. It's all good. I see no benefit to our hobby for WotC to fail. Yeah, I think there is that adage. And then some people are like, well, our hobby is not solely dependent on WotC anymore. Like some will say the success of RPGs isn't based on WotC and the success of D&D. there are some people that have been in this hobby as professional publishers, writers, authors, designers for 20 to 30 years that would argue that it does. And, I'm not an industry guy. They may know something that I don't, for sure. They know something I probably don't, or we. I should apply. I'm not qualified at all. If WotC does fail, then it'll hurt a lot of people across the industry. I have no doubt her reasons for leaving have much to do with D&D. Execs jump from company to company all the time. Yep. Jeff says, I've left WotC products because of a decline in quality and personal preferences, to want to play heroic characters, not superheroes, in a game with an old school feel or vibe. Valid. No, dude, you and like most of the chat, and even some of the chat run or play 5e because their home group likes it and enjoys it. But many of the folks in the chat, they play different games. They want something else from the gaming experience. That's like, yes, got it. But who gives a shit if WotC is, but like, why would you be mad at WotC? That's what I'm trying to unravel, Jeff. And you don't have to answer. I'm just trying to spur discussion, if you will. Not discourse, just discussion. Because it's just like, dude, why the hate? That's all. Just, you don't have to play it. Jeff's playing C&C now. He's bought OSE and a few other games. So, and to avoid WotC drama. That's not a bad thing either. Because with WotC comes drama. Like, hi. In my opinion, the WotC hate is limited to a few. I don't believe the money shows people are leaving. Yeah, I agree. Well, there's a lot of loud people, a loud minority. I think the Pinkertons was a media stunt for D20 OGL thing. Huh. Just saying. Maybe. Who says just say no to Wiz, bro? A business that wants to make money. I agree. WotC has made some real poor choices. So did TSR. For sure. It's so funny that some people that hate WotC have absolute nothing negative to say about TSR. Mind-boggling. Completely mind-boggling. Literally, you could probably get the same person in the room and go, and they'll bash the crap out of Wizards of the Coast. What they did to D&D. And be pissed off. And then it's like, I don't know if you're aware, but some of the games that you absolutely adore and won't play anything differently was run into the ground from mismanagement and poor leadership, and fiscal irresponsibility. Like, what? I don't even understand it. 420, hey-o. We hate Hasbro more than WotC. Corporate BS getting in the way of better product and IP management. Sean, the funny thing is it's the opposite. Other companies make money because 5e brings people to TTRPG. They aren't squashing anyone, but people have that narrative. Interesting. Yeah. Well, and dude, look at all the third parties that have, they're in existence because they make 5e products. And some would say they make better 5e products. So it's also feasible that you could play 5th edition. You have the core books. You already spent the money. You've given it to WotC. It's not like, hey, if you wanted to sell your core books, after you bought them, it's not going to impact them. But you could potentially have your core 5th edition books and then play, Ghostfire Games' line of stuff, or even Cobalt Press. Who is number 2 in the RPG hobby now? Paizo still? Chaosium? I don't know if we'll ever know. I don't know. Because they never tell you numbers, right? They don't have to. So, one could speculate, Jim. I would think many of us have probably some, a gut reaction. Paizo's always been a pretty big hitter, ever since Pathfinder kicked off in 4th edition. Just wasn't as appealing as I think everybody was led to believe. Chaosium's been around a long time for sure. I think they own the market in Japan, apparently. But, who knows? The people that know are only the people for the one company and where they stand. Because they can get the sales figures from Wizards of the Coast quarterly earnings reports. And, I don't even know, unless they say it in an earnings report or meeting, like how many, they usually probably don't sell how many copies they sell, maybe. I don't know. They've mentioned numbers like, oh, there's approximately 50 million people playing D&D today or whatever. And then you could say, well, as Chaosium, we can, based on sales, determine we have 5 million people playing Call of Cthulhu or whatever products we have. I don't know. It's such a gap, though. So big a gap, I bet. Fraser says, I wonder if the hate on WotC is part of the terms mentality. Teams terms. See, I inserted an R. Part of the team's mentality that affects so much else. Yeah, maybe. Free League? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about Free League. I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know. Goodman, I don't know. DCC, hard to say. Really hard to say. Jeff says, WotC did have huge positive contributions to the gaming industry. I just like other stuff now. I get it. Yeah, a lot of us are in that boat, Jeff, for sure. No question. A lot of us play different games. Absolutely. Just because we're done. The ship has sailed. We're on something different. Paizo or Free League number 2? Chaosium's got to be up there. I think Chaosium gets overlooked from the folks that probably, if you get too into the fantasy space, then you're only looking at fantasy. If you're doing apples to apples. But, Free League's got a few different lines. If you go to TSR and say, hey, they had, 15 different campaign box sets, it, fractured their customer base. Because then people would only want to buy Planescape or Dark Sun or, Birthright. And so they wouldn't buy anything else. And then, you want one. That's why they're doing one base setting for Forgotten Realms. With Free League, they've got multiple different games. Although one would say it's Year Zero engine, but they all are a little different, right? It's just not. It's not YZ. It's not like Cypher, I guess, maybe. Like Cypher System. And then you've got Numenera, The Strange. They've got a few over there now. And I got to think that Monty probably tweaks it a little bit, but I don't know. I can't say. I'm not a Cypher. Anybody know? Like the differences between each Cypher System game? Is it more aligning with like GURPS? And then the settings change? But you're still playing Cypher all the way through? Or is it more like Year Zero engine where it's still kind of a base core mechanic, but is tweaked for each different genre or game? Pencil Mage. WotC failure would probably hit the industry as a whole, less eyes on the hobby. Yeah. Modi is huge too. Let's not overlook Modifius. They've got STA, Fallout. They used to have Conan. They got some of their own properties. There's another one they've licensed that escapes me. Let's all try not to hate on WotC more than we love the hobby. There you go. Rising tide lifts all boats. Yeah. Yep. Wayne says, do I want Hasbro to fail? No. Am I puzzled by folks who complain about Hasbro's method but continue to buy it versus other games? Heck yes. Well, the industry's not short of, hypocrites. Haters get clits, man. No kidding. Strike a pose. Vogue. My distaste for Wizbro is the corporatizing of a hobby. TSR was a corporation, Hoos. Millions of dollars. Huge growth. Ash, as far as the eye can see. You could, Ryan says, hi. You could argue that we are living in an age of hatred and disinformation. It makes me sad, for sure. People hated TSR back in the day. Yeah, I think there was probably some mixed feelings for, like, TSR wasn't the golden child forever either. Yeah, TSR. The TSR. I called them that for years on Usenet. Hey, games. I like games. TSR was way worse than WotC. Mismanagement and poor leadership indeed. Yeah, I remember, like, there was not a lot of innovation and a lot of products released back then, and I wonder how much was because, TSR would just, threaten litigation, like different environment back then, and who knows what happened. Like, people have the memory of goldfish when it suits them. TSR was run like 8-year-old lemonade stand until the villain took over and tried to right the ship. Yeah. Swords Edge Publishing exists because of D20. So that's Swords Edge Publishing. See, got to know what SCP means. That's Fraser's company. And it probably exists because of the OGL, right, Fraser? I mean, it opened a lot of doors for a lot of publishers, right? Jeff says, TSR also declined in the quality in the end. Let me back up. TSR also declined in quality in the end, I think. I think maybe the continuous drive to put out content eventually suffocates the artful products of the creatives. Yeah. Moving along towards positivity. TSR also saturated their own market, so many 2 ebooks. Yeah. Looking forward to the BS Landia West marches, both playing and hearing about what others get up to. That's a positive. Yeah. I'm curious how many of us got into D&D because TSR books were $1 at the KB Toys due to their issues. Raise his hand. Yeah, I know people are trying to get me off the topic. Well, this is not okay. So, Wizards aside, I'll bring this up because, and maybe we'll just talk about this for the time we're on. MKBHD. I don't know if you guys know Marquez Brownlee. So Marquez is a huge internet YouTuber, tech reviewer. He's been doing it since I think he was like 15 or 14, and he's not 14 anymore. Great. Just if you want a tech review with some good insight and different, there's people that probably watch him with no intention of buying whatever he's reviewing, but it's insightful. He keeps on top of things. And the reason I bring this up was because most recently he did a review on a product, and the title and the thumbnail was the worst product I've ever reviewed. I think it was something to that effect. The worst product I've reviewed. And for him, who has reviewed a ton, people are like, what? And he got a little bit of grief online, as you do, if you're big or not or whatever. And there was like, he did a car, because he has a car channel that does electric cars, and he reviews those, and then another channel that does much more like cell phones and new tech stuff. And Fisker's was the car, and after he reviewed it, a few weeks later, the stock tanked. So people were like, oh, was it his review that led to the stock tanking? Does he have some ethical how do I put it? Does he have a, God, what are the words? I find the words. Does he have an ethical responsibility to not put out a bad review that would cripple a company? Now, most of us would probably say, well, if that product sucks and he just reports on it, the product sucks. Like, they shouldn't get away with it, and it shouldn't be launched, and it's just a matter of time that it becomes obvious and people stop buying it anyway. So there was people that have interviewed him since. I was thinking about this when it had to do with art. So where are you going with this, Sean? I was thinking about that with RPG reviews. Because a review is like, have you used it? Does it do what it's supposed to do? So I think we get into, so RPGs and the equivalent, I was starting to kind of go through my brain about like YouTube reviews of products, bloggers reviewing RPG products and supplements. And it's not the same. As a matter of fact, are we getting away from the word review when we talk about an RPG product? Because if we haven't, we probably should. Only because some people, and there's also this argument in the space, is, oh, another person talking about an RPG product that has never played it. And I've seen people get grief for that. Like, oh, it's got to get to the table for you to speak intelligently about it to determine whether it's a good product or not. But here's the thing with the hobby, which is a little bit different than what Marquez does, which kind of throws things into a loop, is the creative, like the art. Like the things that are produced in our hobby could equate more to and fall more into the bucket of art and creating, right? And we all know that is a not strange world, but somebody will look at a painting and go, oh, that is the most magnificent painting in all of history. And somebody else will look at it and go, I don't get it. Or it's a terrible painting. But what makes it terrible? So it's a creative thing. And true artists really know what that's about. Musicians, music critic, went to a concert, wrote up a review. It's the worst concert I'd ever been to. Couldn't sing a note, blah, blah, blah. And so in the creation space, you will always have critics, but it's not like the same as if you're reviewing a technical product. If this thing doesn't, I click buttons and the buttons are supposed to do certain things and it doesn't, and I tell people that, it's a little bit different than saying, I'm going to review this and I'm going to tell you why it's no good, or I'm going to tell you why it's great. Make sense? Just want to get up. I mean, I thought that was kind of an interesting dynamic, because now people say, well, I like the way they review products in RPGs. And I think they should be more like walkthroughs. Like, Ben Milton does quite a few of these page throughs. Bud does it, right? Bud's the Magic Hands Bud, with the Call of Cthulhu focus and Delta Green. He pages through and talks about those things. I don't know if they necessarily go, well, I'd have to look at Ben's YouTube channel. If you haven't checked out Ben Milton, he's Questing Beast. So he's done page throughs of zines and OSR products, and puts in his 2 cents, but it's more informational than probably like critical, right? And judging. I just want to get that out of my head. It's been brewing in there for a few days, ever since I listened to a podcast interview Marquez about like, what's the responsibility of a reviewer in saying a product is good or bad, and how does that impact, a potential company and profits and whatever. And it's like, I was just listening and people like, does the company deserve that? And it's like, yes, they do. Abso-freaking-lutely. Like, if they he even said it, he's like, there could be hundreds of people responsible for creating this one product. Somewhere they said it was good enough to launch it. And no, it wasn't. So, but some companies will say, thank you for the review. We appreciate it. It's only going to make our product better. They go back to the drawing board, literally address some of the shortcomings that many, like it's not even just Marquez, it's many people that have said, hey, this thing just doesn't work. So he's just getting under fire, why? Because he's one of the top. He's like number one, the number one guy. So he's at the top. Number 2, 3, 4, I don't get enough. They don't get all that grief. Sorry, tangent, kind of, maybe not. It's RPG related. Tim says second place in terms of retail sales, active players, volume of third-party products. Yeah. Revenue. Second place in revenue. Money. Can we say it's okay to make money in RPGs? Do we feel comfortable with that? Is it a hobby? Is it crafting? It's crafts. They should be given away. It's weird. Got a weird and very big anti-capitalist, like, whoa! $1? Okay. They spend a month working on that. They're charging $1. Totally worth it. I'm not sure how many other TTRPG publishers are publicly traded. I don't think any. Osprey? Well, I don't even... Games Workshop, they're public, but I don't know if they make any RPGs, do they? They license some out, like their IP, right? Their Warhammer stuff. Many? Osprey? Is Osprey public? They are, huh? Interesting. Did not know. Moving rocks. See you, Jim. Last I looked into this, Modi was bigger than Free League. Paizo and Chaosium have got to be in the mix for sure. We're talking about the size of the companies. I'm a little bit behind in the chat. I apologize, everybody. I like to play catch up as I banter and then stop. Half of these companies don't even have full-time staff. No, you're right. Green Ronin, I think it's like Chris Pramis, and that's it. Like, I don't know if there's anybody else at Green Ronin. Maybe. DCC or Goodman Games, same thing. Jen Brinkman, I don't even know if Joseph, who owns the company, is full-time. I don't think he is. He owns the company. He doesn't even work full-time for it. Jen does for sure. I don't know if there's another person. White Wolf, Onyx Path, Get Overlooked 2. Yeah. I don't know. Going back to, I'm up to Tim so far. I don't know. Harrigan says GW doesn't have RPGs anymore, I don't think. TSR was not publicly traded, though, was it? Does that matter? I guess so. If you're like, oh, it's all about the stock and the shareholders. To answer your question, who's no, they were never public. They've sold all those properties. Oh, interesting. Okay. Chris S. Good to see you, buddy. Most entertainment industries are run by corporations. We just have more of a personal, emotional tie to RPGs, so we get mad like Star Wars and Marvel fans get mad. Not wrong by any means. I feel like Arneson might not have been a big TSR fan. I don't know, did he? He got some royalties. I mean, he had to take him to court, but... And was it TSR or was it Gary? Like, was Gary the TSR? I mean, in the end, they're just businesses like Amazon and Walmart. Well, I don't know about that, but I get what you're saying. What do you mean looking forward to West Marches? Session 1 was 2 a.m. Friday. It was on the calendar. I was there. Laramie, you're too funny, man. It was a pretty bad product. What'd I miss? Which one? What's the context I'm looking at? Aaron. Liability. I'm missing some of the context. The flow of the chat. This is my shortcoming here. I think if a product is actually bad. Oh, here we go. Got it. Liability. Yes. So we're going back to, now we're up to the reviews I think I was mentioning. Got it. And Aaron, now I'm in. I got you guys. I got you. So Aaron was talking about it was a pretty bad product. He's talking about the one Mark has reviewed. Yes. He's like, yeah. And there were multiple people that reviewed it. And then Jeff says liability comes into play. Tim says, I think if a product is actually bad, then reviewers have an ethical responsibility to report that honestly. I agree. But going to RPGs, different ballgame. Because how do you separate that a little bit, right? Like, Fatal, people have made Fatal a kind of a punchline of a joke. I've never played it. I think I've seen the character sheet. Somebody out there is going to love it. We mentioned that one, was it last week before? The person who loves the game, a game, is the one that created it, right? Especially for something like a car. Totally agree. I think you provide a disclaimer. You haven't played the product, it's fine. Chris says, depends on your point of view and how you present the review. No one is completely objective. So you find people that you have similar opinions to that you can trust. All about trust. That was another thing that was brought up with Marquez, is the trust of the viewership. Because somebody mentioned like, well, he gets invited to the Apple soiree, the early release soiree that Apple has or whatever. And if, he says something bad about Apple, well, that jeopardizes his ability to go. Man, he's not going to go. He did Apple reviews before he was invited to the soiree. So he'll call Apple to the floor if it's a bad product. Because then the last thing that guy wants to do is jeopardize his trust with his audience. But it's a little different with the RPGs, right? Chris, reviews are just shortcuts so we don't have to figure it out ourselves. There are also reviewers that disregard when everything is great. True. But I don't think RPG reviews should be reviews. I think they should be like, I'm going to tell you what this game does and how it does it. Like the initiative system. You flip cards. It's 10 cards. Each player gets a card. It's numbered 1 through 10. The lowest card goes first. If you are the game master and you have a group of the similar type, like goblins, orcs, whatever, they get 1 card for that group. If you don't like it because it's not to your liking or preference, okay, that's fair. You can say that. But I don't know if it's like bad or good. Like you could weigh in and say, that's not my preference. I don't like it. I'd much rather roll a die or flip a coin or do paper, rock, scissors because it's faster, quicker, makes things move smooth enough. You can run out of cards, Sure. And that's not probably bad. Like, here's one thing that may be of a concern. If you have more than 10 things involved in a combat and you're flipping 10 cards, you're going to run out of cards. Oh, yeah, then let the viewer decide if that's no bueno, I guess, right? No, it is not a mouse for a common Mac product, Apple product. Chris says, if you're well-versed in a topic, then you can let people know and should that it comes with basic competence or execution. Orcus Dorcas does that well. He's one of the guys that I don't want to talk about him when he's not here, but I've seen him get called out on that, I think. Like, oh, another review person hasn't played. They're going over a product never played it. Got it, you know. Blades in the Dark is poorly organized book as is Scum and Villainy, but those game systems are excellent at executing the concept once you understand what's happening. Make a good product, you'll get a good review. Bingo. Spot on. Okay, we got the products, the tech side. Let's talk about RPGs. Am I like... Do we have a right to call an RPG no good? Like it's terrible? Who would play this thing? When reviewing, you should be looking for people who point out the positives and negatives. MKBHD is very good at what he does. It's really interesting comparison and tangent. Yeah. If you have a personal opinion, they make it known that it's their personal opinion while providing objective thoughts. The art represents the tone and theme of the game, regardless of it jives with me or not. Well, that's another thing too. Like, could I say, well, the art's no good? Jeff's a big art guy, right? He loves the art. He'll buy a product just based on art. Art, if it doesn't appeal to him, he won't buy it. Guilty. If it's anime art, it's just not gonna appeal to me. I'm not an anime guy. I know that was really scary. My camera just fell. What's going on here? Dude, what is this thing? It's all mashed up all over the place. Uh-oh, Ty. Morning, Ty. Morning, sunshine. Morning, sleepy face. I agree partly, but the part I do not is there is mechanical part. If the math does not work, then the game, no matter if everything else looks nice. If the math does not work, then the game don't work. How do you explain that? I think you can explain that, though. I think you could say, here's the math. You know, the probability of a D66, this is the way it works. If you push, your probability of succeeding goes up X percent. And Free League does that. Fraser says, if we want good RPGs, we do need to attach an income to it because we live in a capitalist world. We need to use that structure to reward creators. Anyway, today on Sean's RPG Doc, Coke bottle redesigns, tech reviews, morality, capitalism, and a few minutes of TTRPG talk. I'm sure, reviews are part of this whole shingding of a hobby, isn't it? No? Come on, Laramie. It's something different today, I guess. I could go through all the crowdfunding stuff and all that, but switching it up, man. Switching it up. The text accomplishes the function of teaching the game regardless of the tone regardless of if the tone the text accomplishes the function of teaching the game regardless if the tone regardless of the tone of it enjoyable to me. I'm trying to interpret here. Text Chris. There are things to think about and look for when looking at and reviewing RPGs. Who's a good RPG reviewer? Who's a good one? And I say good, like, how do you define good? Probably somebody you trust, right? Who's a good reviewer? It's thought out. It's, I don't know, maybe there's some analysis. If they say it's probably bad, and then in my eyes, I look at it, it's probably bad for the same reasons. I don't know if that's good or not. Book publishing small press companies that aren't the big five have always had a hard time making money. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Oh, it's just the... Uh-oh. The N world down? I don't know. Shouldn't be. Nope, just you. What's up, Michael? We're off the beaten path today. A little bit. Harrigan says, Osprey is an operating subsidiary of a public traded publishing company, and they aren't all that big, even with all the military books and such. So I think Edge, Edge Publishing, I think, is as well, right? Aren't they part of Asmodee? And Asmodee is part of the Lancer group, the whatever group. And they're publicly traded, but like all the properties they have, like Gearbox Studio, Asmodee, they are not, I don't think, right? To your point. Matty Q, morning. Hobbs says it's all subjective semantics, making it something other than review. Yeah. I guess it's just the craw, right? Like, can we not call it a review? Because I don't know if you can review art. I mean, I guess so, right? They write reviews about musicians, concerts, food critics. I reviewed their food. I mean, we know what bad food is, probably, right? Tastes like garbage. Presentation looks like crap. I don't know. Maybe that's what RPGs are. Presentation's very bad. I can't read it. It's disorganized. Looks together, but it was like thrown together by my 5-year-old. If you invite a person that might give a bad review, then it is your fault of inviting them. Yes, we have the right to call RPGs no good. Based on the mechanics? It's weird because you know what a bad RPG probably is. But there's good ones that people will be like, no, that's a bad one. We do it for movies. Why not RPGs? But yeah, better back it up. Okay, fair. The art is important. Art is part of the product. But it's subjective though, right? That's the thing. Like, Jeff, you like probably a particular style of art. Same here, right? I said that. Anime, like Exalted, the cover, Fabula, Ultima Fabula. Like, it's not my jam. And if that is the point of that is to get a person that likes that style art to play that game because it's very much embracing the anime, embracing anime culture, I guess. You know, then bingo, that's the purpose. Does it serve its purpose? Yes, bing, check mark. So I could say, without even reading it, did it do what it was supposed to? Yes. Yes. If it's anime art and it's anime game, then that art supports the concept. If it's bubbly art and it's a horror game, then WTF. Right. Yes. Got it. Sure. Jump scares. Pencil Mage, look out. I like the way Seth reviews. He only reviews stuff he's played and helps to improve it with his advice. The Analytic Dice guys, right? Gabe does that. Him and Kevin. They play the game and then they talk about it. They don't even... Do they? I don't think you guys say it's a review, though. You're just like, we have a game, we played it, we're going to talk about it. We could say you've reviewed it. No, they didn't review it. And I do appreciate that, too. Like, I think there's something to be said about, I got it to the table. This is, Art is why I bounced off the whole Morkborg franchise. Struck me as to try hard, like a Harvard art class trying to make punk-style art. Oh, man, I don't know, man. Cyberpunk or Cyborg is... Dude. Jeff says, so I don't just buy it for the art, but I won't buy an RPG if the art sucks. That's true. So it plays a part in the decision-making process. It's not the sole factor. Got it. Yes. Okay. You might not like the art, Lair, but MB was two truly punk dudes. Free League just published it and made them hugely successful. Chris says, I used to be a good reviewer when I reviewed games. I'm a good RPG reviewer, but no one cares. Aw, come on, Tim. That's unfair. Why do I have this up still? Sorry, guys. I don't know. It was just something that hit my head. Because I have been conscious of that. I don't know if I've done a review of a game. I'm trying to think of the videos on this channel. And one of the things that concerns me if I were to get in that space is, have I played the game? You know, me looking at it, understanding it, can I determine if it's a good or bad game by not playing it? And I think to some people's points, you can. There's things you can comment on that are going to probably be bad. If you can't find the things in an organized manner in a book, that's probably an issue. But maybe Sean's just an idiot. Dude, turn the page. It's right there. Oh. But there are some poorly organized books. Do we want a good reviewer or honest reviewer? Well, I think one is contributes to the other, but not vice versa, right? If you have an honest reviewer, they are good. But a good reviewer does not make them honest. Does it? Maybe? I don't know. They're synonymous. Yeah, I think it goes one way, but not the other. I don't know. That's just me. We're coming up on almost an hour and a half. Holy cow. Woo! Always time flies when you're having fun. Chris says, or if a product is accomplishing its function, Jared Rasher writes some solid reviews. From what do I know? What do I know? JR, right? This is the website, right? What do I know, JR? What do I know, JR? Jared. What do I know, Jared? That's what I'm just going to call his blog. If you have not gone to Jared Rasher's site and poked around, there you go. Long-time friend of Gaming and BS. Met him. He's been to Gamehole Con. Met him face-to-face. Face-to-face. Seth is a great reviewer. He offers praise and criticism. 10-Foot Pole has different likes than me, but I know how to read his reviews and disregard things I disagree on. RPGs are not art. They are games. They can be reviewed. Oh. Well. That is true. Okay, what about supplements? Like, I don't know, a map book. I don't know. I'm being a little snarky there, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I agree. Core rulebook, rules, mechanics. some people, they'll love that freaking book. They'll love that game. I guess you can love a bad product. Fear of a Black Dragon is a review show that has value for me and is a good mix of description, experience, and opinion. Chris seconds that. Between Two Cairns, gold star review. A piece of art can be critiqued and enjoyed on its own merit, but in a book, does it help serve the product's goals? I think that's kind of the game thing that Harrigan's getting at, right? Gabe says, yeah, there might be a bit of unstated review in Analytic Dice. AD is a review show, Gabe. Whoa. Whether you like it or not, man. Whether you call it that or not, dude. People here hate on 5e because a lot of folks here don't like having the dragon game shoved in their face all the time. That's a societal thing about people who are polygamerists versus playing a few games. Dude, in the beginning of this video, it wasn't even 5e. It was like, I was talking about the hate of WotC. Like, Shambot says, I do like Analytic Dice, Quinn's Quest, Digital Hobbit Mirko, Seth Skorkowski is a good one as well. Tim Jensen seems like a discerning individual from the short time I met him at Forge Midwest. Jeff says a crappy game can seem awesome with a strong game group and vice versa. Well, that's been brought up too. Like, this game sucks, but man, the game master really made it shine. Or, hey, I had a really good group, and they made it shine. Like, you can polish the turd, I guess, right? And I hope now we just rebranded into the Polygamorous Podcast Network. Did you guys really? Chris? What? Gotta get rid of that mark. All remnants of Mark. A reviewer's value to me is also connected to my discovery that they appreciate the kinds of things I do, like your friends who recommend things to you. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to run Shadowdark, right? Is it a good game? I think it's a good game. People want to play it. In my March's game, they go buy it, and they're signing up, right? Why am I on this again? So let's get into that quick. The West, maybe not so West marches, Northeast marches. Thank you for everybody who contributed to the discussion. All very insightful. I appreciate it. I know I didn't get through everything, but it's something that hit my head. And I thought, why not change it up a little bit? If there's a discussion or a topic, rather than listing everything you can find on Ian's World sites of print news and things of that nature, figured change it up and get into some meaty, some back and forth, if you will. So for those if you're not interested in the West Marches game, I bid you adieu. Thank you for tuning in. Have a nice day. Hope to see you next week, Saturday, 8 a.m. Central Time, where I stream every week here. Talk about TTRPG stuff, if you will, with help from the wonderful chat. Thank you, everybody. So where is everything at, like, with the West Marches game? It is, as of this recording, 4:20. Hey-o. I'm going to try to get we're going to try to get this thing off the ground in May. Like I said that earlier a couple weeks ago, May is put some dates out there, crank it away. Let's do it. So the game of choice is going to be Shadowdark. I already mentioned that. I have a email newsletter sign up thingy. I think email is going to be like once so often. Don't want to spam. I have like 20 people that have signed up through the email. That way they don't have to be on Discord. They don't have to be like, where do I go? They don't have to be here. Like, where do I go? Just sign up for the email and I will get you updates on where to find things and how this is going to go. Some may say, dude, you are way overthinking this thing. You are overbaking it. You're overcomplicating things. And you know what? You may be right. And that's okay. But I wanted to kind of run smooth because I don't know. I might have 7 players that consistently kind of want to play all the time. And then I might have 20 or 30 or 40, or I don't know what this looks like. It could be completely out of control. I also should mention that I have a Patreon. The link is down below. You can join for free. Like, it does not cost you anything if you want to be a patron. If you want to, great, thank you. I appreciate it. And some folks here. Whoops, man, Tad, sorry. Somebody's like, stop that thing off the screen. These folks have supported me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sending a hard-earned dollar into my coffers, and it has helped for this game specifically. I will tell you, because I've bought a subscription to Incarnate. So I'm trying to get some mapping done and finished because I got a cool map, but there's no terrain. A little bit of a problem. Probably want some terrain on there. So subscription to Incarnate, it's like $25 a month. You don't need it unless you want to do maps. But I thought it was fairly reasonable. And I could put my map in there and start putting in some terrain. So that's underway. I have documentation in Notion, so I can publish it to the web, and then people will be able to read it, but you won't be able to interact with it. Like, you won't be able to sign up for a game. You won't be able to sign up for it in, I guess, an expedition, if you want to call it that. So the email sign up gives me your Discord, first name, and email. And with the email, I can add you to Notion. And if I add you to Notion, then you can pull up Notion and you can see all the documentation and you can comment on expeditions. I don't know if I need that yet or if I can just do it. So I'm trying to determine like how much of the stuff do I want to do versus how much of the stuff I want to empower the players to do. And that's more logistical, tactical stuff like, hey, do I just tell you where we want to go? Where do I tell you? Or do I have to like claim this card, right? Some of this is going to might change. So the way I have it baked, I could go, oh, this is not going to work. This isn't working. I got to change it. Okay. So I have pretty much like, I'm also subscribed to SeshBot, a Discord bot that basically allows me to create an event and then create the amount of people allowed to RSVP and sign up for that event. And I can determine the roles of the types of people that can sign up for the event. And it can populate to a public calendar. It syncs with Google Calendar, which will be helpful for me. I could probably even make that Google Calendar public. So the nice thing about that is I can put my availability in Discord. Here it is. And then I can have slots for the organizer, right? 1 slot for organizer, 4 or 5 slots for players. So if you're the organizer, you're kind of driving the hey, I want to play. Who's with me? Let's get this going, right? Because I think there's who's going to organize, muster. Hey, I want to go to that destination. Who's with me, right? So there's a couple ways to do this. And I'm thinking, well, do you get the group first and then you decide where you want to go? Or do you decide where you want to go and then find out who wants to go with you? Either one, to me, does not matter. All I need is a group that tells me where they want to go. And I go, sounds good. And when they schedule the session, when they sign up for the session, I assume that they're going to this group, this destination with these people. Done. That is the end goal. How that all works, is what I'm dinking around with. So I think what's going to happen is I will post in Discord, here's my schedule, here's my availability. People can go, yes, 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 yes. And you don't have to sign up as, like, if nobody signed up to play, let me rephrase that. If somebody like yourself says, I want to play on the 20th, you don't have to, if you're the first one, you don't have to be the organizer. You can just say, I am willing to play on the 20th, and it doesn't matter where we go. I just want to play. So if somebody wants to organize that, then they can muster. And then when they sign up, each availability is going to be kind of like title called BO1, BO2, BO3. And that is BO stands for breakout. So I have a text channel for each breakout, right? Breakout 1, breakout 2, breakout 3. So if you sign up for breakout 1 on the 20th at 7 p.m., you go to the breakout channel 1 and talk about where you want to go, who's coming along with you. And then when you sign up, the reason I like this bot as well is you can opt to get reminders, right? Put it on a calendar, it gets in your Discord, it'll send you a direct message, it'll give you a reminder of when it's about to play, which is nice. You can opt out of those if you want. And then we're going to roll. So sessions are probably going to be 4 hours tops. I may have some 2-hour sessions. I may have some 3-hour, but I would say 3 to 4 hours. It may be 4-hour block, but we may only play for 3. It just depends on how far everything gets. It's going to be very ebb and flow. So Sean is basically going to be running one-shots. Like, in the future, I'm going to change up my days, right? I'm going to have a Saturday, I'll have a Sunday, I'll have a evening, Monday evening, and Tuesday evening, kind of separated all over to allow different people with different schedules to play. I don't want to do it just Tuesdays every week. And then, I can never play Tuesdays, Sean. Thanks. Okay. They may also change. I also need lead time. So if I have a session scheduled and it's 4 days out and I need 4 days of prep and nobody's signed up for it, then I'm going to delete that on day, like the 3rd day out. So it's going to be a little kludgy on my end. Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm doing. I could do it like, don't put my availability out there. People go and just look at where they want to go, and they got a group, and they come to me and say, hey, Sean, we want to go through this. The problem is, then I say, well, I can't do any day this week except for Saturday at noon. I mean, I could tell the organizer it's up to them to determine when everybody is available, but I think this would be the happy medium. Like, Sean's available at this time. Who's with me? Let's go. Then it's going to be a matter of, well, see, this, now you're getting some insight into my brain here. It's a weird place. So somebody might say, but Sean, what if 2 groups want to go to the same place? Can 2 people claim the same kind of rumor, expedition? Yes. At first I was like, no. Once one group claims it, it's kind of spoken for until that group goes. But then I thought, I guess you could, knowing that this other group's going before you. I'm going to be tracking time, a calendar, and when you go out and all this other stuff and what that date that looks like. Because if the group goes and they plunder the dungeon and then you go in after them and you're like, there's nothing here. I don't think that's the way to go. I think that's kind of blech. Unless the dungeon is like, we didn't get very far. We want to, it'll still be there. Well, and then I got to keep track of all this, right? So everybody knows what's going on. Yeah, man. Good times. It's good times. West Marches. These videos online, they just, let's go to a group, and then they say, don't do it in the city, and I just don't really care. I can do that. And I'm like, how many people, like, they never tell you how many people are in their group and how they're really organizing this crap. And this is some of the stuff that's going on in my brain. Michael says, devouring the Shadowdark book right now, looking forward to that. And you know, it's so funny, like Jeff just bought it too. They're not a lot. As a player, like, there just isn't. There's a little bit of mechanics that you might want to know of, but creating a character, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Typos. Don't worry, Chris. It's all good. Hobbs is my test subject. Like, if he's confused, and I make it more clear. Where's my name, Sean? That's a good question. Ty says, what matters to me is the date and time of the game works with my life. I think that's going to be priority. I don't think anybody's going to really care where they're going to go and explore necessarily, especially on the initial upfront. It's just going to be like, I want to play. Where are we going? Which will be great. If that's the mentality of many of the players, then this will be just easy going. Like, oh, let's go. I mean, there might be some boring ones like, oh, I don't want to go there. But it'll be fine. I bet I can get a TPK in 2 hours. It's like you're in my head, Ryan. Damn, off to work. See you, Hobby Z. I totally appreciate level of forethought and consideration being put into this. Then again, with the number of players involved, really calls for this level of prep. Yeah. So that's it's going to come together, and then people are going to be like, well, I did this, and then I did that, and I'll go, oh, you know what? That does seem very kind of dumb and stupid, and why am I doing it that way? And there's going to be, you guys are a smart bunch. So I would expect complete candid feedback. And it's going to roll for many people, and some are going to be like, that's not me. Forget it. It's too much work. See you, Wayne. So we're a little bit over, but Ryan West marches us off to doom. Hey-o. Everybody's dropping. See you, Renee. Good to see you. Wayne, see ya. Thanks, guys. I'll wrap it up. But anyways, that's the deal. So it's happening. It's going to happen. Plus, I got to populate. I got to get the rumors. I got some ideas. I got to have a lot of them. Have things for you guys to explore. Caves, dungeons, crypts, the thing that's eating all the livestock in the area. All kinds of stuff for you guys to do. All right. See you, Harrigan. Good to see you. Waiting for my email, Sean. So I will put, I got to be careful. Like, I'm doing this on YouTube. I can get all kinds of different people that are just like, hey, man. And then they just sign up, and like, I'd rather do it for the BS Landia community. Some of you that tune into the chat, not to dismiss some of the folks that watch this, not live, but many of you I've actually met and know, or interacted with on the Discord. So that helps. Patrons as well. So that's why. Anyways, my wife is really looking forward to marching west in your game. She is. Yes, Willow is obviously jazzed or interested, I should say. So that's good to know. Thanks, Tim. Yeah. So it'll be fun. I'm thinking about limiting it to probably 5 players, maybe 6. If I go 6 and somebody drops, I could still run. If I go with 6 and 2 people drop, I could still run, right? 4 players, let's go. Start to trim that down. That plays a role when people drop, and it's inevitable that people are. And, I think I'll make it a minimum of 4. Because if it's 6, like a minimum of 6 signups and then 4 to play. Not a minimum of 4 signups, because then if I get one that drops, it goes down to 3, and I don't want to run it. I think that's fair. So I have to convey that, right? And go, hey, this is the deal. Hey, look at subsection paragraph 3-2 where it says this. But I'm working on it. It's fun. It's getting juices cranking. It's something I haven't done in a long time, this method. And I'm hoping some players that, aren't used to playing with a bunch of other different players take a stab at it, because you play once, you didn't like it, it's not your thing. Hey, no problem. You don't have to play ever again. That's kind of what it is. So, and then there's going to be some that are going to be total fanatics, write up huge logs, and I'll be like, yeah, you could sign up, Ty. But if you live in the West, how much further can I go west? Well, here's the tricky thing is that I'm probably going to put you guys in the South, and then you're going to kind of go up. So, what are you going to do? It's going to be fun, though. It's going to be fun. Plus, I want things to kind of tie together a little bit, like what's going on in the world, because I just don't want it to be hodgy-podgy. Full admission, I'm going to borrow stuff. I'm going to steal stuff, to use in the game. And some of it might have some homages. I won't tell you what you're maybe adventuring into, but you might go, wait a minute, I know what this is. I'm all down with that. So it'll be fun. Biaslandia is the world we're going to venture in. Hexes, 6 miles. North marches, for sure. Build a pier. So anyways, hope to see some of you play, and looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I just hope I don't lose my complete mind trying to organize it all, and I hope it's still like intriguing and interesting every time I run it. I don't want to get burned out. But I don't know what I'm facing. Like, I don't know if this is going to just blow up in my face, or it's going to be an easy pace and I could sit down. I should, right? Like, you're going there. Okay, I know where exactly you're going. Boom, I could do prep. Boom, run it. 2-3 hours. Con game mentality. What are you guys going to get through? What are you going to encounter? Yada, yada, yada. So, bonus XP if you do an adventure write-up. I thought of that. I also thought of doing... So I think if the organizer will end up being the caller. I think Hobbs kind of gave me that pointer. Like, if they organize the scenario, like if they organize the expedition, then they will be kind of the de facto caller. Does the caller have, the last word? Not necessarily, but they're going to be driving, I think, some of like, hey, I really want to get this happening. Who's with me? Hey, can you play? What character do you have? I want to go over and venture over here. What do you say? And then when decisions get kind of weird and there's like a split party, what do you decide on? The caller can be the tiebreaker, right? Sean, have you decided if you're going only human? No. Going to use the Ranger and Bard classes Kelsey created that aren't in the book? No. I'm going to do... So I thought about that, but I'm like, it's Shadowdark. I don't care if it's goblins and was it goblins are in it? Halflings, dwarves, elves, humans, I think are all ancestries in there. I'm going to just go straight book. Like, that's the deal. Because then if everybody's playing human, then it does become kind of, I don't know if there's enough diversity in everything else. It doesn't have to make sense. Like, some people say, well, then it does, like, give me this, like, you're in a village, you want to go and venture out, but I'm adventuring with like a goblin, an elf, a dwarf, and a human. Like, that's it. That's the type of game. Like, the tone is sincere but not serious. No ducks or wolfkin. No so limiting. Right? Yes. Yes, Gabe. But Shadowdark, like, do I need to have different elf factions in the big world and all this? Maybe I will. Will it play like it's not a Tolkien-esque game, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. Well, however I define that, I don't know. It's not. Even in Forbidden Lands, I didn't know if I wanted players to play Wolfkin, even though it's a race you can play, you can opt to as a player character. And I'm like, well, what would be their story? I've had people play orcs. I've had people play goblins because that's a playable race in Forbidden Lands, and they have a certain dynamic. But how does the party translate if it's made up of all kinds of races and then they go out and adventure? Do they run into those other races as well? And then what does that look like? What's the dynamics? And to me, it's just like you're just a different person, I guess, as a player character. I don't want to read too much into it. Including goblins changes the tone, just saying. Half orcs. Yeah, does it? I agree, of course. Gabe, he doesn't agree. I like Gabe's argument about, like, I like to play. I'm speaking on behalf of Gabe. He can correct me if I'm wrong. But, Gabe's like, I want to do human party because, and to his point, if you're playing an elf, a dwarf, a halfling, a goblin, well, then are you just playing them to get in my opinion, I'll just go, I agree with Gabe. I don't know if I'm going to stipulate what his rationale is, but if you go and encounter an elf and you're playing an all-human party, what's that dynamic look like? It's different, right? the elves in Middle Earth are like looked at in a different way from a human perspective. In some games, like some fantasy games, everybody's like, I'm a Goliath, half elf, half orc, dwarf, neuromancer, mystic thurge. And all that doesn't matter because that's who they are and they just run around and it's not a big deal. Discover the weird and mysterious. Don't play it. Except for VSD, Gabe. Dwarves are OP in Shadowdark. Yeah. Issue in Forbidden Lands, a player said they were playing a goblin hunter, a hunter who is a goblin or a hunter of goblins. Yeah, good question. Assessment 0 for character creation or show up with a character. I'm going to have character guidelines. The process is very easy. I will probably rule out chaos because I think chaos is like, hey, there's the laws of chaos. Because you in the book, it's like pick from 3 alignments: neutral, lawful, chaotic. And I'm like, well, okay, they can just pick whatever. But then chaos later in the gods and deities and things of that nature, even like one of the adventures that I have is like the forces of chaos have inhabited this area. So it's just going to be everybody's lawful or neutral at worst. Maybe I'll trim out the goblins and some other things. Yeah, 3 alignments in Shadowdark game. Absolutely. Yep. That's by default. So I probably just limited player characters can only pick neutral or lawful. And then I may restrict. I'm on the fence of making it all human. I'm a 9th level paladin with a Holy Avenger. Laramie, you are a 9th level paladin with a Holy Avenger. What's the question, Ty? I meant, is it still around? Side note, Shadowdark might not have paladins. Haven't read it. They do not have paladins, I don't think. The book's right there, but I'm too lazy to pick it up. But anyways, that's the only thing is, do I make it all humans and you're in a particular part of the world and you're going to go out and find different things that you'll come across. It does pose an interesting point to Harrigan's point is, well, if you remove goblins as a playable race, now you can encounter them and find out what their antics are. They don't have to be evil in the world. It's something interesting and new because you are all the same. But I know some people are like, I really want to play a different race. Fighter, cleric, thief, and wizard are the SD class. And I'm not changing those. I'm not implementing bard or ranger. Like, I'm going to go standard. Down the road, will that change? Maybe. Rule 0 in this campaign is I have the right to change anything at any time for no reason. for any reason, I should say. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. I am excited. I'm excited. That's what matters. I don't care what anybody else says. That's how it should be, Sean. Yeah, it'll be fun. I may put a poll out there. Now, one thing I don't like is people asking me for advice. I don't mind people asking me for advice, but if they keep asking me, I have one person in my life that keeps asking me for advice every 6 to 18 months and never has taken my advice on anything I've ever told him, ever. And he's literally said, hey, I want to tap you and I have a question for you and want your advice on. And I say it and never goes with any of it, which is fine. Fine. I don't want to be that guy because I may put a poll out there and ask, and then I might go, I don't really care. I'm just going to do it anyway this way. But I am interested to, because sometimes I'm like, well, dwarves, they could just be shorter humans. Like, right? Like in the world, I guess. I don't know. But if I'm making them unique and interesting and, it's stereotype, tropey, they live under the mountains and mine and, there's some hill dwarves too, Sean. Don't forget about those guys. And elves are always in the woods and they're like this. I guess, maybe. I don't know. Dude, I'm going long again. There's 2 hours already, damn it. But I also wanted everybody, give them an out at an hour, hour and a half. Maybe they're doing the opposite of what you advise. Whatever this guy says is obviously wrong. Maybe. We trust you if you're changing it for a good reason. But I mean, if there is I would like to play different things. That's just me. I don't think there's a wrong way. If the way I could do it is just, it's all opt-in. It's all opt-in. It's opt-in. It's opt-in. It's opt-in. That is the beauty of this game. You don't Sean's doing an all human West Marches game. And it's gonzo, and magic's off the hook, and it's kind of crazy and nutty and da-da-da-da-da, and it's not the game I want to play, then you don't have to play. Very easy, right? It's done, finished. I don't like the weird schedule, the different people at the table all the time. Then this isn't the game. If you want to play, have fun with different people, the schedule may change, and there's a long, living, overarching world that's happening. But you can only play humans. Yeah, you want to play that? You sign up. So that's the beauty of it. Whereas I think with some folks that are like, hey, I want to play a game. Can you run this game? And you go, okay. And then it gets weird. Poor Roger. Roger's on our Discord. I only say this because it's on the Discord and you can go read it. But he's, encountering, he's got a new group. They're not, I don't know how many of them are friends, but I think Roger doesn't know many of them. And so he's experiencing I want to play these types of characters, and I've got 5 pages of backstory, and they're different levels because I played them in a different game and I brought them over, and he's dealing with a lot of what do I do? Do I say no? I don't understand why the rest of my party doesn't like my food. My Tenku ranges around looking for carrion. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe I've thought about it because at first I'm like, just create a character. Here's the rules. If it says you could do this or that, I just stipulate if there is an option or a choice, just because somebody's going to ask me, hey, do we have a choice on this? Do we just do that? Or do you what? So I have an outline. Do this. No change. This, on the other hand, when you get to this point, select that. Ancestries, races, I'm on the fence. I don't know. I can see only doing humans. Do an all goblin game. Thanks, Ryan. I'm going to let you guys go. It's at the top of the hour. Even if you went the extended version, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Good to see everybody. Good turnout today. Really, really appreciate you guys taking time out of your precious lives to spend it here with everybody else and myself. I really do. Thank you. Be a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby. More to come on the West Marches. It's not far away. I promise you. I don't know if it'll be the best game you've ever played. I'd rather under promise, over deliver. So that's that's the angle. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you next week. Take care. Spend time with people you appreciate. Take time for yourself if you need to. Keep on gaming. We'll talk to you later.